Thank you, Lars, and thank you, panelists. I am Andy Alper. I'm honored to serve as chairman of the Board of Trustees of the University of Chicago. And on behalf of my fellow trustees, and I think there are actually 7 or 8 of us here tonight, I want to thank all of you for your interest in the Becker Friedman Institute and for your attendance this afternoon. I don't think it'll be too controversial to say in this room at least, that the Chicago School of Economics has had a hugely positive impact in the world. I think these 2 panels have been good examples, sort of little brain appetizers, if you will, of the kind of work the Institute will be doing on some really important questions. I also don't think it's probably too controversial to say that Chicago economics has impacted a lot of us in this room personally. You know, my own story, for some odd reasons, I became fascinated by Milton Friedman's sort of policy views and, more importantly, the clarity and the courage of his analysis and his approach when I was a high school student. And to satiate my fascination with him, I came to school at Chicago in college in 1976. And basically, to my own personal benefit, I haven't really left ever since. I've been back and forth in different cities, but really haven't left the University of Chicago. And I'm sure that many of you in this room have similar stories, personal stories about your connection to Milton Friedman or Gary Becker, or more recently Kevin Murphy or Lars Hansen or others. So I think this is both important to the world and important to a lot of us personally. Now, many of you know, and I think Bob alluded to this in his comments, that the process of forming this institute was not always the smoothest. At times it was a bit rocky, and there was some internal university controversy from time to time, which is not that unusual, frankly. This one took a little bit longer than most, I think. But luckily, a large number of people have persevered, including a number of deans, many faculty members, our Institute Chair, Gary Becker, our inaugural director and Director of Research now, Lars Hansen, more recently the Chair of Board of Overseers, Eddie Lazier. All these people really persevered to make this happen. The administration also was very involved, especially David Green, who's here in the second row, Executive Vice President. And last but certainly not least, Bob Zimmer, whose vision and steady hand has once again, in this and many other ways, led us to a very successful outcome. So again, on behalf of the board, I just want to thank all these people I just mentioned for their tenacity. Really express a heartfelt thanks, because I think, hopefully we can all agree that all of us, the University of Chicago, and indeed the world, would be far better for the Institute being formed. So on that happy note, I will invite you to join us for cocktails in the room next door, and thank you for coming.